Welcome in. It is day 358, and you're speaking to the Meeple's Champion. And today, we're going to be going over a game that is a little bit on the older side. Very simple. The game is called Mandala. Now, in Mandala, all you're working with are mandala colors, essentially. It's a card game where you're going to be placing onto a board. Now, I believe most of these comes with almost like a fabric that you roll out. You have a mountain, and you each have a field. You have a left and a right side. So there's going to be two of these in total. On your turn, you're going to have a hand of cards, and you can place one or more of the cards based on the color onto the board. Now, you can never place into your opponent's field. So you have to choose, all right, do you want to place it into the mountain itself, the center, or do you want to place it onto your side, your field? Now, in order to place, the rules are simple. When you place down a color, you are going to have to place it in one of those two spots, and you have to look at all three. So if there's a purple already in the mountain, you can add more purples to the mountain, but you can no longer put those on either person's field. They only can have one color per location. So you're going to do this, then your opponent goes. You go back and forth. As you put down cards, you can draw. If you feel you can't put cards down, you can discard them to draw back up. You're going to go until one of the mountains and fields adjacent fill with all the colors. And when they do, you're going to then immediately say, okay, you've made a mandala. Now we're going to place it. Now, when it comes to placement rules, the rules are very simple. You're going to count up how many cards, not how many different types of cards, just how many total cards are in your field. Whoever has the most is going to go first. Then, one by one, you're going to take a color from the mountain. You're going to place this down, and it's essentially going to go in like a river in a way. It's going to be 6 spots below that are going to score for you. Now, the card itself won't score, but let's say you grab a yellow. You're going to look at this, and if there's any open spot, you're going to put it in the leftmost spot. If you had 2 of them, though, the additional yellow won't go there. Instead, it's going to go off to the right in a pile face down. Now, if you had been part of this group but you had nothing in your field, you would still select the cards along with your opponent back and forth. You would still place them into your 6 potential spots, but if you had more than one, or if you already had some there and it was already matching up to that color, you don't get to place them in your face down scoring pile. Instead, it gets discarded completely. You need at least a card in your field in order to collect the scorings. Now, you're going to go back and forth doing this for both mountain sides until eventually you have one of 2 things happen. Either one, you run through the entire pile, at which point you have to take the discard pile, shuffle it up, put it back down, and play until the next time you score a mandala, or until somebody has put their 6th card into their 6 spots available. Once this happens, the game ends. Now you score. Now, as I mentioned, you do not get points for the cards that are down below in those 6 spots, but each spot represents a point. So this is where it gets interesting, because you might be trying to go for, say, a whole bunch of black cards at the end. You have to be very aware of what cards you're putting into what mountain area, if you're going first or not, because that last card that you place in is going to score the most. The very first card, every one of those, let's say you put a green in, every green that's below is going to be worth a point for you. Whereas if yellow's in your 2nd spot, it's 2 points. If red's in your 3rd spot, it's going to be 3 points. The 6th card is 6 points. You're going to count all of these up, and you're going to see who has the biggest score. Whoever does, wins. In the case of a tie, you're then going to go into your scored cards and count the total quantity. The fewest quantity breaks the tie. Well, that's the game, but why don't we jump in? Let's talk our 7 categories and see where this game lands for us. When it comes to the art, I actually love the art of Mandala. Mandala is simple. It's just color, design. I think that the box and the cards are letting you know this is going to be a fun, simple game. There's not going to be a theme to this game. There's not going to be a big storyline to this game. You know, this is one of those games, much like Azul, where it's really about just getting used to patterns, and I think that the art sells this, and it makes it so those who are interested in that kind of game are going to be pulled to it. Thumbs up. Your components. Components are 2 things. Primarily, it's your cards. And the cards are really good quality. I'm not worried about wearing or tearing. But on top of that, you also are going to have the board, which is really just a rollout mat, which I actually love. I feel like if There isn't a theme to this game necessarily. At the same time, I feel like if there is any theme, the feel of the art is really enforced by having this rollout little piece of fabric. I like that. So for me, thumbs up. Your price. This game falls in that $20, maybe $25 range. It's not an extremely expensive game. It's available. You're going to find this in most board game stores. You're going to see this occasionally in a Target, probably in a Barnes & Noble. It's available online. It's worth its money. It's a thumbs up. Your difficulty. This is a game that's going to be best for beginners. I think that that's a great game for them. I think experienced can still enjoy it. I think kids will be able to play this game. I don't think this is going to throw them at all. And I think experts, it's a 2-player game. For an expert, this is a nice little game to have in your collection because it is one you can play when you have somebody around who's not into your bigger games. Because you have to have that availability to change it up, whether it be that you just don't want to always be playing the expert level games, or because you have people you know you want to do something with, but they're not going to play those. So for me, this actually is okay for all 4 categories. Thumbs up. Replayability. The game doesn't take long. I think this is a fun game that you can easily play through in about half an hour, maybe less. And for that time frame, you're going to get plenty of plays of this. This is a more likely game that's going to be not that you have one person you play with, just available times. Playing it at lunchtime, playing it, after dinner with a family member, playing it when you have a friend over, or when you're at a family party and there's a couple of you who just don't want to hang with the rest of the family and you have this game to run off and play in a corner. This game has replayability. Thumbs up. Your keys to victory. The keys are interesting because it is all kind of just face up, but you have a couple controls here. You have the control of what cards you're using from your hand. You have the control of looking and seeing what is it that your opponent is trying to do. Your opponent could end up saying, okay, I'm here trying to score as much off of the 1-pointer as I can, and I'm going to get every time I can a yellow because I'm trying to score and I'm not trying to fill up my bed. And you might be on the other side going, I'm trying to get this thing at the bottom filled as quick as I can so that when I get down to the 5 spot, that's where I'm going to start scoring as much as I can, because for every 5 cards you're getting into your spot to score, only one of them for me is going to tie you. So there are different ways to approach this. There's a little bit of luck factor, but there is a lot of control because you have 2 different mountains to score through. You have a hand that you control what you want to use and get rid of. I think that there are keys to victory here. It's a thumbs up. Is the game unique? Using patterns and colors, that's not unique. But the idea that you're doing almost 2 games of this, and that you have your area, your opponent's area, your area in the center, which is actually the cards you're scoring, and that you have your hand controlling how to maneuver through these. I actually think the game does seem pretty unique. If anything, it's an inspiration to other games that have come since, but not in a direct copy of it, just in a concept of how to do certain maneuvers. But I really can't think of another game that's, to me, close enough to say this isn't unique. I gotta give it thumbs up. Overall, what do I think? I think it's a good game. I think it's one that could easily be in anybody's collection, and it's one that's worthwhile. Well, it has been day 358, and we've been speaking about the game Mandala, and you've been speaking to the Meeple's champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description where I'll be adding an Amazon link in case you want to get this game for your collection. And don't forget to jump onto Board Game Arena and check me out under the Meeple's Champion. Friend request me, game request me. I'm on a couple times a day. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.